This is Immad Akhund, and today I'm challenging him to a little tech building competition.
This is complicated.
So what is it that you felt was missing from the business banking space that kind of inspired you to build Mercury?
Well, this is my fourth company. So I was an entrepreneur from 2006, and I had the idea for Mercury in 2013. I just found a lot of it frustrating. I think a lot of other entrepreneurs that deal with banks find it frustrating. Yeah. Have you ever looked at the fee schedule of a bank? It's crazy. It's
I mean,
like
I have. I work
like-
in the personal finance space, so
Yeah,
yes.
there you go. So lots of fees that seem unfair and,
Right.
and are like not very transparent. The products feel like someone made them in like 1990 or something. It's like hard to use, can't get basic things done. I personally really hate calling people to do things. Yeah, I just want to click a few buttons to do them. So those were some of the frustrations. But I think it also felt obvious to me that someone will improve this process. And a lot of other business tools have improved over time. So yeah, we wanted to do that at Mercury, really update what is business banking.
All right, should we try to build this thing? I feel like you're already at an unfair advantage because you've done something like this before.
Well, this doesn't look like what I did, to be honest.
Good. That makes me feel better. There's a natural inclination, like if I'm going to start a business bank account, to look at your current bank and be like, oh, they have a business account. That just makes sense. But I feel like that's not necessarily the way to go. Just because they're good at being your personal bank doesn't necessarily mean they'll be good at being your business bank account, right? What are some of those things that you think people should kind of look out for that might be different for your personal account versus your business account?
I would say in general, it is good to kind of look around at your options rather than just kind of default to whatever is your personal bank.
Right.
I think I think Mercury is obviously a great choice, but there are other kind of options out there for business banking. And generally speaking, if they kind of focus on your particular need and industry, you can have a much better experience with them.
I'm going to try to pop off some of these pieces.
All right.
You're going to look at the instructions. Okay. Look at that.
You look at it, you pop up. I will read it. Okay, we got these things. Interesting.
Life on the edge. I'm just popping all these little guys off.
Well, that's the wrong thing to do.
I know, right? I like the symbolism that comes with the fact that you looked at the instructions first before actually going in there.
I mean,
Do you feel like that's the kind of entrepreneur you are? Do you feel like you like to have a plan?
I mean, at this stage, I think I'm more of a planned person. Yeah, there's this interesting idea. An entrepreneur takes a lot of risk in starting things.
Right.
And obviously there's all sorts of technical building, whatever risks. So you want to try to mitigate the obvious other risks. You want to be more planned, and actually you end up being maybe more risk averse because you're trying to take this other big risk, if you know what I mean.
I do. So Mercury obviously was not your first entrepreneurial experience. What is it about the entrepreneurial space that kind of excited you and made you want to keep trying? Because it's not always easy.
Yeah. I think it's really fun.
Yeah.
I think I have a hard time people telling me what to do. So I like the fact that it's so independent, and even if you fail, it's all on you. You can never blame anyone else.
Were you
What does this be too?
a kid into tech? Did you like these little sort of, let me build this little
Oh, you
thing?
know what's funny is I was never that much of a builder of these things. I was always a software person.
Okay.
So from the age of 9 or 10, I was doing something with software from a pretty early age.
Yeah.
But not so much hardware side of things.
Yeah. So when you think about entrepreneurship, just in general, that comes with a lot of challenges. But specifically when I think about the fintech space, there's a lot of other unique challenges that will come with that because there's regulations that you have to worry about because you're dealing with people's money.
Yeah.
What do you think is one of the most difficult parts about building a fintech business that people don't really think about?
It's definitely harder than another business. I sometimes describe it as 3 times harder than a normal software business. Because a software business, and every other business I had was a pure software business. You'd build something and then you'd launch it.
Yeah.
That was maybe 3-ish months of work if it's a reasonable size product. With fintech, you have to build the user-facing piece. Then you have to build the fintech back-end piece. And then the third level of complexity is kind of the compliance and fraud angle and risk in general. You have to make sure you understand the laws, you have all the terms and all of that, you have all the processes in place. And that, like, you don't launch something that's going to be like a massive vector for fraud instantly. So you have to have some base level of controls.
Right.
That's a lot of work. So I would say at least 3 times harder. But, again, I'm an entrepreneur, so I always look at the positive here.
Yeah.
It's also going to be less competitive, right? Like
True.
if you build a software thing, someone else can just copy you and do it pretty quickly. If you build a fintech thing, A, the barrier to entry is higher, so like there's less people out there that can copy you, and B, it just takes them longer.
So you gave other people this stuff as well?
No.
I feel like we ended up with a complicated one.
Yeah. I gave it to you because you're kind of in the tech space. Not that I thought that this is the type of tech that you do or anything, but that I thought that it might be a fun little challenge for you.
It is a fun little challenge, Hill.
Thank you. Thank you for seeing it as such.
I agree.
Well, mine is falling apart, if that helps. So, I did not snap my pieces in very well.
Shall I help you?
I know, right? Come on. This is all in good fun. Help me out.
The black one goes through here, and the red one goes through there.
So, obviously, we can't talk about small business and the small business banking space without talking about Silicon Valley Bank earlier this year, because I feel like that was a very scary time for a lot of people and a little bit confusing and all of that. There were so many different emotions and feelings for people that went on with that. How did you kind of, A, keep yourself calm, but B, keep your members calm and keep your employees calm during a time like that?
Mercury is the main kind of alternative to SVB when it comes to kind of startups and e-commerce businesses especially. So we had a lot of customers coming to us, and like this was kind of a 5-day period when the most panic was happening.
Right.
So lots of our team was kind of working hard, and I think credit to the team, they're really up for a challenge, generally speaking. And I think the second thing that really motivated us and got us, and the big piece of work we were doing, we launched a product called Mercury Vault, which we kind of did over the weekend. And the idea there was, people really concerned about what's happening with their money, and we wanted to really help them understand, like, if you store money in Mercury, this is why it's safe and this is where it is. So as part of that product, we basically extended our FDIC insurance from 1 million to 5 million. We also made it clear, whether you have your money in a US government kind of T-bill mutual fund and how to access that if you have more than 5 million. So that kind of also galvanized the team because we were building something, and so that was what we were doing internally. In terms of talking to customers, we really wanted to be very transparent and open and authentic, and that's kind of how we try to be with people anyways. And that, we found over time, like, doing that is actually unusual. Like, most of the time when people interact with their kind of bank provider, they don't have a very authentic and human kind of conversation. So people really appreciate that. They're like, okay, there isn't like kind of weird corporate speak. This is just like very real. And, I try to be available as well. So that was kind of how we were dealing with it. And I think customers appreciate it. And we actually ended up growing pretty fast during that time period. We added in that 1 week or 1.5 weeks, we added about 2 billion in deposits.
Okay, wow.
And I think maybe 9,000 or so customers signed up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not a bad week.
Yeah, just if only it was every week.
I'm trying to decide if this is just to look good, because these are gears, but they don't turn.
First of all, how are you on that page already? Like, what? This is all part of your plan. You get me talking.
Yeah.
Get me distracted.
Yeah, I think
I'm on to you.
I think in a flat race, I would probably beat you at this.
I would agree with that. I'm still trying to find some of the pieces. I think you were onto something by not popping all the pieces out at once.
I actually shouldn't have listened to you, because I popped some of them and it's slowing me down right now.
Did you? I think this is pretty interesting because I know from like an entrepreneur's perspective, maybe you're not even at the business banking phase yet. Maybe you just have this idea and you're not sure, am I ridiculous for even thinking this, or like, I do have a good idea. How do I get the money?
Yep.
And you guys have actually been working on developing a program, Mercury Raise. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Mercury Raise is a platform. It's got kind of 3 pieces. Piece number 1 is connecting entrepreneurs with investors, which we call Investor Connect. Number 2 is connecting them with experts and operators, and we do these kind of sessions where you can kind of talk to someone around marketing or sales or various subjects, and we also record these and release these afterwards. And the third piece is a Slack community, so you can be part of a community of other founders and talk to each other and kind of vet ideas and like see what other people are doing and things like that. So
Look at you with all your little pieces assembled.
I mean, I think we've got a lot to do still.
I think the hardest thing, which hasn't really happened at Mercury, but did happen a lot in my previous companies, was when you go out there to raise some money. And there was, in my previous company, we'd done a Series A, which was only $3 million, which, nowadays the Series A is like 10 million plus, but 3 million was a big deal. And that was maybe 2011, I want to say. And there was multiple times after that where we tried to raise a subsequent round and we failed. So we talked to, it's quite a journey. Like you talk to like 30 plus investors, and you make a story and it takes like months, and then at the end you get a no from everyone. So
Right. Inevitably, everyone's going to hear a no, right?
yeah. I mean, I try to set a situation up where I can't fail with investors. So like right now Mercury is profitable, so there's no real failure scenario there. You don't need them, and I think that is ideal, right? As a business, like ideally you do not need external people, and you can like build a sustainable company over time. For every funding round at Mercury, we've raised more money than we needed, and we've done it at a point later than we could have, so that we were in a much stronger position to succeed. So that's one aspect, like just it's a fun phrase, like just be so good you can't fail. Like that. If you can achieve that, you're good there. I think the other way I look at it is kind of think about it as like a probability game, that like, hey, as long as you try hard enough, and generally speaking, there's some probability of success. If you try 50 times, then you can like, hopefully you've got 2% probability of success and you'll get it at least once. But at the end of the day, if it's not working, right? Like if you're selling something, whether it's trying to get investors or a product, and you talk to 50 people and no one's saying yes, I think that's probably an indicator that you need to go back to the drawing board. So it's better if you don't take it personally, and go, okay, this is like interesting data and I should use this data to like build something better.
All right, well, we are closing in on the finish line of our interview, which is good.
Because I was like, I don't think we're closing in on the finish line on this thing.
I don't think so either.
Pass it to our kids to finish it off,
Right.
probably.
And they finish it in like 2 minutes. They're like, oh, easy, done. Well, neither of us crushed this, but I will say that you made more progress than me. So if there was a victor, it would be you. Congratulations.
Yes. What do I win?
You win the satisfaction of a job well done and the right to keep that.
Okay, nice.
Give it to
You
your
got it.
kids to finish.
Yeah, we'll get them on it. They'll be excited.
There we go.
I hope it moves at the end, right? It's electronic. So
Yeah, it does.
should.
I'll make sure you get a battery. I feel like this is what little kids at least think their parents do all day. They go and have fun without them, like.
Oh, really?
Right?
I don't know
That's
about
what I used to
that.
think as a little kid. When my parents would like make me go to sleep, I'm like, they're up playing with toys and just having a
I
blast.
see. Well, you probably didn't complain enough to your kids.
There we go. Well, if people are feeling inspired and they want to learn a little bit more, how can they find you?
Yeah, if you're interested in Mercury, obviously mercury.com. And then I do talk a reasonable amount on X/Twitter. I'm just at Immad, IMMAD.
Thanks for hanging out with me today.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.